Have you ever wondered how a brand figures out what to charge for a product in a totally new country? Well, today we're cracking open a really cool case study from Atypica.AI. It's all about how one skincare brand tried to figure out the massive and super complex South American market.
So here's the puzzle. You've got one body lotion made for sensitive skin, and you want to launch it in Brazil, Chile, and Argentina. How in the world you find the right price when you're dealing with three totally different cultures, currencies, and economies? It's tricky.
And the stakes? They are incredibly high. Just to give you some perspective, Brazil's beauty market alone is worth a mind-boggling $33 billion. That makes it the fourth largest in the entire world. So yeah, getting this right is a huge, huge deal.
But you can't just copy-paste your strategy. This really is a puzzle. What people love in Sao Paulo could totally bomb in Santiago or Buenos Aires. A one-size-fits-all approach is pretty much guaranteed to fail. You've got to figure out what really makes these customers tick.
The game plan itself was pretty sharp and focused. Just one product, a body lotion for sensitive skin, and they decided to skip the stores altogether. The plan was to sell directly to young social media savvy consumers right where they live, on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, so this is where the research starts to get really interesting. The team at Atypica started digging to find the biggest headaches for skincare users, and what they found was, well, it was not at all what anyone expected.
So, let me ask you, for young women in these big South American cities, when you're talking about body lotion, what do you think their #1 complaint is? What's the one thing that drives them crazy?
Now, your first guess might be that it's all about wanting more natural products, right? I mean, that's the buzzword we hear everywhere. But nope, the research showed it was something much more specific, something more primal.
Turns out, the #1 complaint, and this was true across all 3 countries, was fragrance. Both the artificial stuff and even some of the so-called natural essential oils were causing big-time problems. And this one issue had a massive ripple effect.
And we're not talking about a small annoyance here. These fragrances were causing actual redness, itching, and serious flare-ups. This made people deeply skeptical of the word natural, because they'd been burned by products that claimed to be gentle but were anything but. And, on top of all that, texture was a huge deal. No one living in a humid climate wants a lotion that feels greasy or sticky.
All right, so now the brand knows exactly what problem to solve. They need a lotion that's trustworthy, completely fragrance-free, and absorbs fast. But what's that worth? How do you figure out what people will actually pay for that solution?
This is where the team got really smart. Instead of just asking, hey, what would you pay for this, they used a clever tool called the Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter. Basically, it's a way to look at price from 4 different angles to find that perfect sweet spot.
It all comes down to 4 simple but really powerful questions. First, at what price is this lotion so cheap you'd actually start to question the quality? Second, at what price is it a bargain? Third, when does it start to feel a little expensive but you'd still think about buying it? And finally, at what price is it just way too expensive? No way. Answering these gives you this incredible map of what people are really thinking.
And what that map showed was the next huge surprise. Get this, even with these very different economies, the ideal price was almost identical. We're talking around $16 in Brazil and Argentina, and about $18 in Chile, which immediately makes you ask, why?
And the answer is fascinating. It's not about the number itself. It's about the story you tell to make that number make sense. The research showed that even though the price was the same, the reason to believe in that price had to be completely different for each country.
Check this out. This is the key to the whole thing. In Brazil, what really worked was a message of national pride and a connection to nature. They wanted to hear about sustainably sourced ingredients from the Amazon. In Chile, people were more focused on research and proof. They wanted to see the scientific studies, the dermatologist recommendations. And in Argentina, the winning message was all about being practical. This is a better, smarter alternative to what you find at the pharmacy. Same price, 3 totally different stories.
And you can just imagine how this plays out on TikTok and Instagram, right? For Brazil, the ads are all about the soothing power of the Amazon. For Chile, you lead with the science. Finally, a natural lotion that actually works for sensitive skin. And for that practical Argentinian market, you frame it as a daily ritual of conscious self-care, a smart little upgrade from the usual.
So, the strategy sounds pretty solid, right? But hey, any good plan has to prepare for what might go wrong. So Atypica didn't just find the opportunities, they also flagged the biggest potential landmines.
So what could actually trip this brand up?
If you're going to go in with a premium price and tell 3 different stories, what do you absolutely have to nail to make sure you don't fail?
Well, 3 things really stood out. First, price perception. You have got to be crystal clear about why you're worth more than a beloved local brand. Second, you have to fight that natural skepticism head-on. Don't use vague words. Lead with a concrete, provable claim, like 100% fragrance-free. And third, and this is the big one, a one-size-fits-all marketing message will absolutely, positively fail. You have to tailor it.
And that really brings us to the biggest lesson of this whole thing. When you're launching in a new market, you can't just look at the spreadsheets and the economic reports. You have to go deeper. You've got to understand the emotional landscape, what people fear, what frustrates them, and what they're hoping for.
In the end, it all boils down to this really powerful idea. These customers aren't just buying a moisturizer, they're buying trust. Trust that a product won't make their skin angry. They're buying a promise. And when you understand that, suddenly, a $16 price tag doesn't seem expensive at all. It sounds like a solution.